Hey everybody, welcome to a quick video, or hopefully quick video, about replacing the motors inside this GM dashboard. It is out of Tahoe, I believe, or Suburban. There's a display, and none of the motors are working anymore. So you don't know how fast you're going or how many RPMs you have. So I've disassembled it and I'm getting ready to unsolder those motors. I've done a few of these. It's a pretty nice repair to do for people. And I have a whole pack of new motors right here. And these are sine cosine motors. They have it's a 2-pole where they get an input that holds the pointer where it's supposed to be. So first thing we're going to do is desolder these. And now to desolder it, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to elevate it. I have a board holder, like a clamp, but it's a little too small to hold one of these. So instead I'm just going to use this blue bin because it happens to fit these beautifully, so I save it just for this. And I'm going to use some wick. Get some tech spray wick. You could use a pump, you could use larger wick, whatever works for you. I have my old OK solder pump. I love this thing. I've had it about 20 years, 10 different tips. So all we're going to do is remove the solder at these points. Let me see if I can zoom in on that. There we go, and that's the speedometer. We'll start there. Now I'm using a large wedge tip or a large chisel tip because I want maximum heat transfer. One. Now if you notice your wick not working well right away, or the solder not pulling up on it, you could try adding some flux to the wick itself. Or what I like to do is I just add a little bit of fresh solder to the old solder. That helps kind of prep it, or I don't know what the correct name is, but if you do any solder work, you know what I mean. So then I just straighten those out a little. Actually, that still has a little bit. I will say these tracers are very delicate, so not too much heat. I'm running my iron around 700F. It's a little high, but I'm used to it, so it's okay. So now that's out. There's the motor. Should just lift off. Set that off to the side. Get the new one. And they drop right in. They're keyed. They have the little pins that line them up with their holes. There we go. Flip it back over. Get it lined up. I'm going to bend these over a little to get them back to kind of how they were. 1, 2, 3, and 4. There we go. Now they're all soldered in. And I will do the rest of them, but you folks don't have to sit and watch that part. I'll just show you when I'm done. Alright, that's all of them. Got all the solder out using my wick. Now, I need to make sure the pins are all straight and that none of the solder is holding them and it feels like they're all loose. And then that guy over there, flip the board over. There we are, 1. I already did that one. 2, 3, 4, 5. And that would be 6 if there was one. but there's not, so I'm not going to worry about it. I forget what that's for. I should know what that's for. It's for a feature that's not in this car. Transmission temp, maybe? Exhaust temp for diesel, maybe? I don't know. Somebody else out there who knows GM cars better than I do can put a comment down below telling me what gauge is supposed to be there. And then I pop these guys in. Then we'll flip them over and solder it. And these are plugging into the board, but they're not plugging into their connection. It's just a physical connection at the moment. It's not electrical. It's just the that little tab there, that nub catching itself. All right. So they're all in and they're flat. So I can flip this back over and get it in frame for you guys. Sure you can see everything. Here we go. And then I'm just going to gently just give the pins a little bend. I imagine that was done in assembly to hold them before there was solder to give them a little bit of friction, but I'm going to do it anyway. Alright, and let's get some solder on there. I hope you guys can see this. I know my phone setup here seems to be casting a shadow. But on the screen it doesn't look too bad. It looks pretty visible. Still trying to find the optimum video setup. I've tried GoPro. I've tried all kinds of stuff. My old phone. I keep going back to this S8 though. Aside from the 10-minute 4K limit, it's and the heat, it gets hot from the screen staying on. But aside from that, the video is really nice. And the autofocus is so much better than my Canon point and shoot digital camera. That's only 1080 though. Pardon me, I keep going back to this because it's 4K. I have a GoPro that's 4K, but the audio on that's awful, and I have yet to investigate how to do external audio. I'm sure I can. I just haven't bothered to look into it. Oh, it's not bad. Oh, there we go. Much better. All right, they look good. So they're all soldered in now. This is essentially ready to go, except I'm gonna do a modification. We're gonna put some blue LEDs in place of the current lighting, which is these guys. I've already marked out positive, so I know where to put them. And I've done this in other cars too. It's pretty nice. These bulb kits come with the ability to be plugged right in. I'm sure if you're watching this, you've seen these before, but this is what it looks like when you buy it. But for these, since they're hard soldered, I pull them out and then just kind of copy the old bulb. Now you could go through the hassle of taking the bulb out of the holder here and threading it all through, and I may try that. But when I've done this in the past, it seems to be better just to solder them directly to the board. So that way they illuminate the back of the dash properly, or the back of the labeling properly. And the last one. Alright, so let's entertain threading one of these through. So let's get the old bulb out. There we go. So what I'm hoping to do, because resistor lead is positive, I'm hoping I can just kind of do that. Seems like it might work. As long as the resistor lead is long enough to wrap around, which it may not be. Let's see. Let's get that in there. And oh, it just gets around the side. That'll be enough to solder it. Alright, so then I just set it back in place. And we'll actually need to refresh the solder. Negative, positive, positive. And if you accidentally rip one of these pads off, you can use the little pads next to it if you're smart about it. They're not connected to anything, but with a little jumper wire you'd be alright. I have had to fix these after other people have tried to do the motors or the lights. Usually the lights, you get somebody who doesn't know what they're doing and they try to cram normal, 5mm LEDs in without a resistor and stuff starts popping. So, yeah. Alright, so let's line that one up. Drop it into place. There we go. Move it a little. There we go. Got to keep it straight. And I'm probably blocking your view, but I'm sorry, but I have to. There we go. There we go. There's one in. Looks nice. So let's get the bulbs pulled out of the other ones. Alright, be right back. Alright, now I got them all ready. Kind of show you what I did here. In fact, I'll show you one. You can do this yourself. Once you get it apart, you're going to see where the epoxy is. And in this case, resistors are on positive. I bend the legs like that, and then you just set it inside the old light bulb holder. Kind of push it down. I saved this one because it's not soldered right. It sits up a little high. The other ones are much closer, but this way you can see what I'm doing. And once you have it set in spot, in its spot, you simply wrap the leads back around where the bulb leads used to be, around the side through that little notch. And then I just grab it, give it a little, just kind of hold it, and then I get my snips and we trim it. now it is ready. Or when I knock everything over. So now I have a spare. Alright. So to solder these all into place, I'm going to put them here so I don't lose them. And I've marked where positive is. Same thing with all of these. And I know that's where the resistor is. So to install one, after it's made, it's like I did that one, but it's just a matter of you heat up the pad, you'll feel the lead snap into place, it just kind of drops. And then do the other side. And that's it. So that one's now ready. And I put the tall one here because there's more clearance. The rest of these are roughly the same height as the original bulb. Teeny bit taller, but negligibly so. Not enough that it'll affect anything. The light will be fine, and the clearance, which is more important, the clearance is more important. Now these, for those who don't know, these are called vacuum fluorescent displays. It's actually a vacuum tube, and they use that for doing your odometer and your transmission position. It's kind of neat. Alright. And if I can't see the resistor, the way I can tell what side is positive is the smaller lead is coming off the resistor. And I do have a way to test this once it's finished, so you will see it lit up. I believe it's these two pins. I have a wire that I made that plugs in there that will light up the lights for us. So I need to verify I have them in the right way and that they work. And let me know what you think of this video setup, if this is comfortable to watch. If it is, I'll make this a more permanent setup for doing my videos. Yeah, once these are made up, they go in pretty quick. You do want to add a little bit of extra solder so that they'll drop in. You'll feel it kind of sink when the solder melts. And last one. Yeah. Alright, I'm going to pause this and get my test harness. Alright, so you can actually use a standard Molex plug. The wires even hold up. It's the first two pins. Let me flip it over. You can see what I mean. It's those guys, those first two. The white wire is not being used, but it's a good connector, so I'm not going to shred it. I'll just get the white wire out of the way. And these will be how we will test it. There we go. All right. So let me get a battery, and we'll see how it goes. Okay, I know I'm probably late to the game on this, but I find that these batteries are wonderful. Let's move that. We'll set it down on the bench. But I've been using, just DeWalt batteries or cordless drill batteries for 12-volt power supplies. Very convenient. With these, for instance, I have an adapter, I just don't have it here, that I made that plugs into the battery that gives me 2 contacts, but positive and negative. So, oops, bumped the tripod. Just gonna, there you go. Here, let me get out of the camera so that you guys can see it without my amazing arms in the way. So you can see they all light up. That means the polarity's right. So that's a good sign. The 2 that aren't lit up, those are turn signals, but I'd leave those alone. So what it will look like, give you a better idea. Just going to set this on top because this is going to be the next step to put together. And let me just turn off this light above me. There we are. So that's more of what it's going to look like. Just that nice bright blue. It's really nice, especially with the gauges in place. Okay, so let's get the drill battery out of the way. I want to wipe this down. It's got some fingerprints on it. Now granted, this is going in a truck that's been sitting, but every little bit is important. You treat everything like it's brand new and all that. So that just sits there. Unplug that. Oops, sorry again. And right in front of me. All right. So first things first, let's get that bin back so I can set this back up on top of it. Yeah. And let's get the bottom. Actually, let's zoom you guys out. Oh, wrong way. There we are. One zoom. Or no zoom. Alright, so board sits there. Looks good. This goes next. Now I learned you want to take it apart from back to front, not front to back. When you open it up, it looks like this comes off first because it's easy, but it makes the rest of it so hard. Just make sure these clips are in position. Come on. There we are. Now I'm not cutting that, I just used it to push so it gets around that latch. Good. Alright, just wipe it down again. And now we'll get these guys ready. Now these are all going to be back at 0 point. This is probably the hardest part, putting these back in. Now what I find is if I do it gently and just push it, but turn it until I feel it hit the end of its rotation, then give it a good push so it's down. There we go. See, that's good. So I'll do it again. I have no idea where this is, but I know I want it at 0. So set it just barely on the top. And it's actually at 0 right now. See? But I want to come down to a little bit too far. Just a smidge under 0. Oh, no good. There we are. And then again, not cutting, just pushing. There we go. That's good. Same thing for all these. Just gonna all the way to the end, and then just go to right past the 0 point. I believe that is so that you can know if it's working or not, because if you turn the car off and it's sitting there, you have no idea if this is working. But if you turn the car off and it goes to right below 0, you know that when it's on, it's doing stuff. The same thing for all the rest. I'm not going to repeat this each time. And temperature. All right. And that's over its button. Just checking that. I'll give it another wipe. I did have my grubby paws on it. Once I close it up, you won't see that. And then we put the top on. This is the outer cover. Just snaps into place, and then give it a quick wipe down. And that'll do it. Let's hook my harness back up one more time. And turn that off. We can't test the gauges, but I can test the lights. And that's what it'll look like. I wish, oh, there we are. Get that out of the way. Off, on, off, on. Well, you know what? I'll turn the lights off for the whole room. All right. There you go. Get a better idea of what it looks like. Not bad, huh? So that's really all there is to it. It's ready to go now. It goes right back in the car, and they can finally drive at night and know how fast they're going and how much gas they have left and all that fun stuff. So that's how you replace the motors on one of these. I'm going to do another quick video on a tear down of this little motor just so you know what's going on there, but that's all there is for this. So as usual, thanks for watching.